Hey class, today we're going to talk about the organ systems of our body. Our body is made up of many different organ systems, in fact, 10 to 11, depending on who you ask. But something to keep in mind is that we are just going to look at 6 of these main systems this week. So the first one is the circulatory system, then the nervous system, the respiratory system, the digestive system, the skeletal system, and the muscular system. Think about inside your body, you have all of these things all together, and they all fit just the right way, along with a few other systems as well. And we just sometimes don't even think about what's happening inside of our bodies, usually until something goes wrong, or we take the time and think. Otherwise, it just happens. Our digestive system is where we're going to start out, and that system actually is the one that helps you to take in foods and liquids and digest them properly. The idea behind digest means to break something down into a smaller part for use. So, how the digestive system works is you start in the mouth where things are chewed up. You have saliva and that moisture, your spit, to soften things. And then as you swallow them, they go down into your esophagus here. And as you see, there's a trachea right here. And that's why when you swallow, your tongue kind of moves. And you also have a little thing in the back of your throat that's back there. You have something that actually covers up your trachea because right now you could take a big breath in your mouth and close your nose and you still have air go into your trachea. So you have to make sure that food doesn't go down your trachea or it would go into your lungs. If that does happen, that's when you choke. You might cough or choke on food. That's because your food went down what we call the wrong pipe. And when that happens, your body automatically tries to push it out because it doesn't want to have that in there. Normally, though, as long as you're not talking or laughing or not paying attention to your eating, your body will just automatically put it down this esophagus. Into the esophagus, it goes to the stomach. Your stomach has a bunch of acids in there to break it down even further so that your body can properly digest that. Your stomach allows the food to sit in there for a little while before it moves on. As you can see, there's a couple of things right next to there, including the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. Each of those is part of the digestive system, but the food doesn't go inside of those things. Instead, the food gets enzymes and different materials like insulin and things from there to help it break down, or also to provide the materials that we need to properly digest our food. So after it goes through the stomach, it moves into the small intestines, and your small intestines are like 30 feet long, super duper long, but they're all rolled up they're wider than spaghetti, but just think about a big pile of spaghetti noodles inside your belly, inside your abdomen there, and they're able to slowly, you want your food to slowly move through there so that your body can properly bring in, or take out the nutrients and break down that stuff, send out water and nutrients into your body. And that's when it happens, is right through the small intestines. After that, it moves into your large intestine, which is this bigger one. And that is where then you expel that out through what's called the anus, which is your bottom. And that's how you make a bowel movement. So anything your body doesn't use is sent out through there. Your next system is the circulatory system, and that system includes your heart. That's the main organ of the circulatory system, but also all the blood vessels that are in there. Your main blood vessels are called arteries and veins. The arteries are the ones that send the oxygenated blood. That means the blood that has oxygen through your body. The veins are the ones that bring back the blood that's already gotten the oxygen out of it, and it now has what we call carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the waste, what your body doesn't want. So it pumps the oxygenated blood through your body, and then the veins bring back the non-oxygenated blood back to the heart. And then inside, on either side, you have lungs, and they're attached directly to the heart because that's where the blood travels through to get oxygen again, and then the heart continues to pump out. The heart is one of those muscles that is always working. We can't ever, on our own say, I want to stop. You have, your heart automatically works. So that's kind of a cool, very, very strong muscle. If you hold up your fist right now, your fist is the same size as your heart. And if you pump your fist, pump, 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 that's what your heart is doing right now. It fills up with blood and then it pumps it out through there. This is a diagram of what a heart looks like. Whoa. Now this is way blown up, right? That's bigger than your fist. So you can see that the blood comes in from both the top and the bottom because you have, your brain and your face, all those things up there that the blood would be coming from. But also down here are your legs and your abdomen and things like that are sending the blood up here. As it enters your heart, it comes in through here after it's going to be pumped around into the lungs to get more oxygen added to it, and the carbon dioxide is taken out, and we breathe out carbon dioxide. So we breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide. And so as we're doing that, the lungs, which is the respiratory system we're going to talk about in a second, and the heart really work together to make sure that our body is receiving all the oxygen it needs to survive. These little arrows show how the blood moves through. I'm not expecting you to learn all of these fancy words, but someday you will start to learn about more of the parts of the heart and other body systems. So then as it goes and gets done, it's going to be pumped out through the body, through the aorta, both the top and the bottom, depending on what part it's going to in the body. The respiratory system, like I just said, is really connected to the circulatory system. So right in here would be our area for our heart, and it's connected, like I said, to the lungs. So as those work together, we breathe in through both our nose and our mouth. So if one or the other is blocked, we're able to. So think about, we wouldn't want to just have one of those things because what if I have a really stuffy nose? Well, then how would I breathe? That would not be good. Same thing as what if I'm chewing and eating and swallowing? I don't want to only have that as my option. So it's pretty cool that we have both the nose and the mouth to be able to breathe through. As the air enters your body, it goes down into, this is called the trachea. Some people call it the windpipe. If you feel on the front of your neck, there's like a bumpy thing that goes right down. And if you rub on it and make a little you can actually feel it vibrating. And we'll talk about that as we get into our senses next week. But that's how it works, is because of this larynx. It vibrates and it makes noise. So the air pushes past and goes into the lungs, where it is circulated around through the heart, brought back, and then expelled back out. This diaphragm is your muscle that is in your belly. If you take a big breath and hold your stomach, you'll feel that it's almost like your body moves up a little bit. And that's the diaphragm pushing up to allow air to come in and then relaxing to let air come out. Your diaphragm is an important muscle that is right there. As you look at your lungs up close, so if we went and looked at it before, I don't have all the tubes and things there, but I wanted to show you up close. It's almost like a little tree with branches going off, and you don't again have to learn all these things, but right connected to that trachea are a couple of bronchi in both of your lungs on the left and on the right there. Now think about the way we're looking at it is as if somebody's in front of us. That's why it's backwards, because if you were looking, this is your left side, this is your right side. But if this was a person looking at us, this would be their left and this would be their right. And then there's all these bronchioles and these little teeny tiny sacs here that capture the oxygen and help us breathe. So if somebody is, let's say, a smoker or around a lot of dangerous chemicals or something, then that's where damage occurs. Those little alveoli sacs don't work as well. Tar can build up in the lungs, and then that oxygen is just not brought in and out the proper way. And also that gets built up, so that's why people might cough. Same if you have a cold, you could also have, some mucus in there that can cause you to cough as well, but that's something that then goes away on its own. It takes longer if somebody does stop smoking for that damage to go away. The next system is the nervous system. Now, technically, this is really in my opinion, the most important system in your body, along with the circulatory system. But you can't live without your brain. Your brain has to be working. Every other organ, if something goes wrong, there's a potential to be able to fix it. With your brain, that's not something you can get a new one, get a transplant of, because there's only, your brain. There's so many parts to it, and it's almost like your body's computer. It tells you everything that you need. It gives you all the information. That's how you think, that's how you have memories, that's how you move. That there's just so much that happens in there, and it also in your brainstem regulates your heart rate and your breathing and things like that. The other main part that's attached to that, this is what was part of our central nervous system, is our spinal cord. We think about central, it's right in the middle. So the brain and spinal cord work together. Spinal cord is attached to a lot of other nerves, which are the peripheral nervous system, and those deliver those messages and bring back messages. So if I touch something hot in my hand, those nerves shoot up through here into the spinal cord, which goes to the brain, and the brain says, shoo, move your hand, and then it does. But it's so lightning fast, so fast, faster than a car than you can even imagine. It travels through our body, zoom, zoom, because you'd have to move your hand really quickly so that it doesn't burn. So our brain, spinal cord, and nerves work together. And as we get into and you learn next year in a second, you'll see that there's something called the vertebrae, and that's what we sometimes call our backbone. And those are bones that surround the spinal cord, because if something happens to our spinal cord, it becomes damaged and usually cannot be fixed again. So we have to protect that. That's why we use a helmet to protect our brains, and we make sure we're using seatbelts and things so that we don't have big injuries to our spinal cord or our brain there. And those protect it. So let's say I get hurt and maybe I dive into a pool that was too shallow and I hit my head and I break my what would be a neck, you could become paralyzed. So that's a very, very important part of our body to make sure that it's working, and being able to send those signals all over our body. This is an up close picture, and I thought it was kind of cool because, again, you don't have to know all of these words, but you are going to read today about some of this stuff. So the cortex is also called the cerebrum. And then this part right here, the brainstem, that's a big part controlling your heart rate and your breathing and your temperature regulation and all that kind of stuff. And look how it connects. Oh, you can't see it right there. But it's going to connect directly to your spinal cord down there. And then these are the different parts, and we divide those up because each one has its own job. This is the one for you that is not developed yet. So it's in the front of your head there. You're still getting that developed, and that's your frontal lobe. That's where you learn problem solving and being able to think quickly in situations that you might need to if it's dangerous or if you have to do a lot of things at once. That's why as a kid you don't drive a car or something like that, because you just don't have all of those reasoning skills yet. Nothing wrong with you, it's just the way it works. But each part of the brain has different things that it's responsible for. So it's really, really cool to think about. And this is actually, what it looks like. It's just a bunch of squiggles, but each part of those cells that are inside of there do such special things. Muscular system, obviously, again, I wanted to show you, whoa, there's so many different muscles, very fancy words, but really you can feel those muscles as you bend and stretch your arm. You can put your other arm on there and feel as you flex your muscles, how there's all these different muscles in your body. Even if you put your hands on your face and smile, you can feel a lot of muscles moving. It is also what makes sure that you can stand upright, and that you're able to move around properly, along with the skeletal system. So on Friday, when you learn about this, you'll see that the muscular and skeletal system really work together to help you move and support your body. The skeletal system also protects some of your big organs, like your cranium is protecting your brain, your ribs are protecting your lungs and heart. And there's also some places like in your femur where blood is actually made, your blood cells are made. So kind of a cool thing that we have. Just in the end, make sure you remember your organ systems are working together in order for your body to work. even when you don't realize it. So awesome job today. I know it was a little bit longer of a lesson, but I hope that you learned something. You got several activities to do this week, and I can't wait to see some of your work and what you've learned. Bye.